Welcome back to Think Outside the Board and the second crowdfunding roundup for 2024. And in this week's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all of my crowdfunding picks that launched between January the 10th and the 16th. Now we've got 7 different campaigns to take a look at today. Also, this video is getting posted fairly late. I've been actually selling a lot of my board games. I have a collection of, when you throw in expansions, probably about 2,000 board games. And it's just too much. I'm trying to get the upstairs bedroom into a studio space. And once I do that, I'll be able to launch new types of content, including my revamped teach and review videos and live streams of games. But in the ramp up to that, I have to reclaim some space upstairs, and that means selling off games. So I've been doing a lot of that over the last week. It's taken a lot of time, and I'm late in getting this video up. So I'm shooting it on Tuesday. I'm hoping to get it up tonight, but it's 4 days late at this point. That does mean that there will be another video very, very soon by this weekend, so it could be up in 3 or 4 more days. And I'll talk more about that at the end of the video, but there will definitely be a new video coming this week, and I have at least 3 games that I know I'll be including in that video. So if you want to hear more about that, I'll talk about that at the end after we go over the 7 campaigns of this video. Now, the best way to support this channel still is to like and subscribe. So if you haven't done that, please consider doing that. And let's just get moving along to the 7 campaigns of this week. The first of these is called Among Cultists. And all of the games that we're talking about were January 16th launches. So they all launched on Tuesday of last week. This one, Among Cultists, is going to run until February the 16th. They currently have about $114,000 in funding off of a $2,000 and change funding goal. They're working at about a 52-time multiplier, which is insane, but that's partly because they have such a low funding goal that they've set for themselves. Among Cultists is a social deduction game. It's more mechanically advanced than, let's say, the Werewolf games by Bezier Games, but it's not as complex or gamery as something like Ion Game Design's Station Falls. So it's somewhere in the middle. It's got hidden roles. It's got a trader mechanic. It comes in around medium light on the complexity range. In fact, if we go over here to Board Game Geek, we can see that the game actually came out this past year. So it was called Among Cultists, a social deduction thriller. At that time, they had 2 expansions, Into the Abyss and Mountains of Chaos. And now they're coming back with this new expansion, Under the Surface. So this is new for 2024. So if we're just curious about the game, since it already exists and it's already out there in the wild, we can take a look at it. We can see that it's rated pretty well with a 7.5, and its weight is a 2.28, which is right in the middle of the medium light range. And another thing to be aware of here is that the game plays 4 to 8 players, with the community saying that it's best at 5 to 8. So just don't back this thinking that you're going to be playing it as a solo game or at 2 players or even at 3. So you will need a small party game size crowd to play this game. Now, it's designed by Stefan Godot, and it's published by Godot Games, his company. And other than Among Cultists, the thing that they are probably best known for is Human Punishment. They originally did a version of Human Punishment that was Europe only, and then they came back to crowdfunding and did a new version of Human Punishment a couple years back for Western audiences, and that version was called Human Punishment 2.0. So there's been a few iterations of Human Punishment, but that was also a social deduction game, and with this one, they're kind of continuing that trend. Now, Down Into the Abyss, Mountains of Chaos, those are the 2 previous expansions, and the new one, Under the Surface, that is the new expansion for 2024. That is ostensibly the reason for this campaign, along with just putting out a new printing for people to, discover the game who didn't get it the first time around. So we've got a 2-minute video here. We're going to watch this together, and then I'll go over the 3 pledges with you and some add-ons.
The cult will open a portal tonight. Doom awaits.
We must stop them, no matter how high the losses.
I have a bad feeling that there's already a cultist among us.
Among Cultists Cultists is a language-independent social deduction thriller with no player elimination. Each round is played in 4 phases that are easy to remember. In the first phase, your character moves through the university, but you must follow your agenda. You may also have encounters along the way.
Whoa, I didn't even notice you.
Calm down, it's just me. Most of them are harmless. One with a cultist might kill you. And remember, a witness makes a kill impossible.
Thank goodness you're here too.
Oh, and cultists may lie about their agenda. Then a random event is triggered that can mess things up pretty badly.
What the? The power's gone out.
Cultists love killing in the shadows.
In the third phase, it's time for some action. Choose between a character ability or a specific room action.
We need to lock away the ritual books.
Let me check your stats.
What? I've been a ghost all along?
You can still help us.
Let's start a vote.
Huh?
We have a traitor among us, and I think it's Stella.
Time is running out. You have only 10 rounds to reach the necessary points, or to vote out all cultists. In return, the cultists will try to sabotage or even kill you. Need more? Crank up the complexity with lots of exciting roles. Add more variety with interactive maps. Play with the profession module for more strategies, or add your own party to the game. Each session will be vastly different. Are you the cultist? Among cultists. Pledge now on Kickstarter.
Okay, so one thing that you should know about these expansions, which I got from watching a video from the Liege of Games, is that the expansions in this aren't added on to the base game to make them more complex. If you're playing an expansion, you are just playing that expansion. It comes with its own set of rules and its own characters. Now, that can be cool, but it also means that the expansion and the base game, everything is kind of played separately, and there's not integration really between the different sets. So I think that is just something that you should be aware of. You should know going in. It's not a case where you're going to take that expansion material after you've played the base game a few times and then add it on to make it more robust or more complex or give you more variations or variables. It is something that you're going to move over to. So you're going to leave the base game behind and go over and play one of the expansions. But a lot of that content and those components are not shared between the base game and the expansions. Everything's more separate. Okay, let's look at pledges. Now, there are 3 different ones, and the first one, I'm not counting this kind of pledge manager pledge. So the first one is called Returning Evil, and you're going to hear me talk about shipping throughout this video. Whenever I talk about shipping, I am talking about shipping for the continental US. So if you are elsewhere, you need to figure out what the shipping is going to be for your area. But for the continental US backers, this pledge, Returning Evil, which is $31, has $11 in shipping, so it is $42 total. And this kind of base pledge here is going to include the new expansion and a puzzle, a 1,000-piece puzzle with the Among Cultists art, and then some deluxe wooden components. So you're not actually getting a base game with this, you're just getting the new expansion. All right, so the next pledge level up is the new Investigator pledge, and this is a $55 pledge. It's just for the base game, although you still are getting those 2 extra gifts, the puzzle and the deluxe components. But there is no new expansion in this pledge. It's just the base game with that stuff. So this is a $55 pledge with $17 in shipping, $72 total. Now, even though the expansions are kind of played separately, they do share some components with the base game. So they aren't standalone in the sense that you can't just buy the expansion and play it by itself. Yes, it will be a largely different experience than the base game. You won't be integrating everything, but you will need some of the base game components, which means if you already have the base game, you may want that Returning Evil pledge. But if you don't have anything for Among Cultists, then you definitely will want to be starting at the new Investigator pledge so that you're at least getting a copy of the base game. And then they have one final pledge, which is the Great All-in-One. This includes the base game, the 2 older expansions, the new expansion, the puzzle, and the deluxe components. And then also in this pledge, you're going to be getting something called Your Party in the Game, which are 10 blank generic character cards that you can create from scratch. So you could create characters based on things in your imagination, your friends, family members, famous people, whatever you want. But it gives you 10 characters that you can create on your own. Now they do have a little optional buy section. Let's see if I can find it right here. And this is one of the add-ons. There are no other add-ons listed in an add-on section. To see those, we'll have to go over into the details because they'll list it out there. But this is the one thing that they kind of list on the main page. So this is a rethemed version of Human Punishment Social Deduction 2.0, which is their previous social deduction game. And they are retheming it as a space game. So this is something that you can add on for $16 and it will not increase your shipping. Now, there is not an add-on section elsewhere, but if you click on details for these pledges, they show you everything that you can add on. So for a given pledge, it'll first kind of list out the items in that pledge. So for instance, for the core game pledge here, you're getting the core game, the stretch goals, and the deluxe components and the puzzle. And then they list all the other optional add-ons. So they have this Your Party in the Game add-on, which you can add on at any pledge level for $11. Keeping in mind, it does automatically come with the all-in. And then here they've listed that Galactic Heroes, the card game, $17. You can get additional copies of various pledges, the core game, or the all-in. And then if you want to add on the 2 previous expansions, that's how you do that. You can add them on together in a bundle for $55. Keeping in mind that if you are pledging that all-in, you are getting the expansions in that pledge. But if you're doing one of the first 2 pledge levels and you want to add on the previous 2 expansions, that is how you do that. And then finally, this latest campaign for Among Cultists with the new expansion and anything else you back, this is all aiming to deliver in September of 2024. And this is on Kickstarter. There's links in the description section of the video, so if you want to just go down in the description section, you can click on the link, go right to the campaign, any of the 7 campaigns that we're talking about today. Also, the video's tabbed, so if you want to just kind of scroll over the mouse bar, see the games that you're interested in, you can just go and jump right to those. So the first campaign of the week here, Among Cultists, is a Kickstarter campaign, and that is true of all of the campaigns that we're going to be looking at today, except for one, which is on Gamefound, and we'll get to that eventually. Okay, so our second campaign for this week is a new Conan campaign from Monolith Games. Now, the original Conan game from Monolith, there have been several Conan games, but Monolith's original Conan game here came out in 2016. It was designed by Frederick Henry and 6 other designers and had a bunch of artists involved. The newest expansion here, Red Nails, is just purely designed by Frederick Henry. And Frederick Henry, other than the Conan stuff, he's worked with Monolith quite a bit. He's probably best known for Batman Gotham City Chronicles, which plays much in the same way as this game, as well as the Timeline series. And this is a miniatures game. It's got action points, variable player powers. It's a 1 versus many game. Plays 2 to 5 players, and I'd put it in the medium-heavy complexity. And Monolith, other than Conan, is probably best known for Batman Gotham City Chronicles, the Cardline series, Claustrophobia 1643, Mythic Battles, both Pantheon and Ragnarok, and Orc Quest Warpath. So we have a 1.5 minute video here. We're going to take a look at this, and then we'll come back and we'll go over the 4 pledges associated with this campaign and a bunch of add-ons. Before we do that, though, we should make note that this campaign is currently at about $666,000. That makes this the most richly funded campaign of this week of the video, and they're working at a multiplier of about 3 times because they have a very high funding goal. I mentioned at the top that all of the launches this week were January 16th launches, so Tuesday from last week. And Conan here is going to run until January the 29th. So this is, I think, the shortest campaign of the video. There may be one other one that ends on the 29th. But if you are interested in Conan, definitely take a look at this quickly. You will have probably less than a week from the time that you're watching this to jump on this. But let's go ahead and take a look at the video, and then we will go over the pledges.
Sit before me, dog brothers. And listen to my tales of melancholy and mirth. I've slain countless foes to sit on this throne. Nameless creatures, beasts, and men. Hear of the night in a Stygian tavern when I seized a treasure map and washed the floor in the blood of fools. Or of the time Valyria and I cut our way to freedom in the halls of the forsaken city of Zukotor. Since then, I've seized the throne of Aquilonia, jewel of the West. What say you? Will you sharpen a blade and join us in the feasting of swords?
All right, so that is what we have here. And I always think it's interesting when you've got a campaign, as both of them so far are today, where they're doing a new expansion or something, but it's for a game that's already existed. So you have a better idea going into it. You're not just blind. You're not just blind backing something that hasn't existed that you don't really know how it's going to play. The game's out there and there are videos out there, so you can go and make an informed decision if this is for you or not. So we've got 4 different pledges to look at. The first is the Red Nails pledge. This is a $76 pledge with $34 in shipping, $110 total, and that's just going to include this newest expansion. If we go to the next one, we've got the new Recruit pledge. Now, that's going to include the Deluxe King base game and the stretch goal box. It's $108, $48 in shipping, $156 total. Then they've got the Veteran pledge. This is a $152 pledge with $48 in shipping, $200 total. This includes... Now, no longer is the base game coming to you with this. So this assumes that you've already got the base game. But you're getting Red Nails, you're getting the Versus Mode expansion, you're getting Worms of the Earth, which is a previous expansion, and the Frazetta box. Now, if you go to the final pledge level here, this is going to take that previous pledge, and then it's going to add to it the King pledge, which is, the deluxe base game with the big stretch goal box, as well as an extra dice set. And this is a $260 pledge. Unfortunately, they have not estimated shipping for this pledge, so we don't know what it's going to be. We just know that it's probably going to be $48 or more because that was the shipping from the previous pledges. So that means that once you add shipping onto this, you're looking at least $308, and because it's more weight than the previous couple pledges, I'm guessing it will actually be more than that, but definitely $308 minimum. Okay, so those are all of the pledges. And let's go ahead and take a look at the add-ons, or they call them here optional buys. And I have noted down, they have it in euros, but I've noted down what the prices are in dollars. So I'll be saying numbers that are a little bit different than the numbers that you see here. And a lot of these are Kickstarter exclusives, so there's no way to get these at retail. That includes the new expansion, Red Nails. So this is going to be $75, and here's a look at what's in it. You've got 28 miniatures, double-sided board, so there's 2 different maps, 5 hero sheets, 27 cards, and 10 scenarios. And the way the expansions work for this, each expansion is kind of its own separate campaign. So you've got plenty of campaign in the base game, but then any additional expansion that you add on is going to have its own campaign. So here is a look at everything that comes with Red Nails. You can play it in solo, or co-op mode, or adventure mode. Then they've got this look at the base game here. So here's the thing. You can get the core box at retail, but it will not include the stretch goal box, which has about as much content as the base game itself. So definitely, I think the place to get it is through crowdfunding, and this is $108. The two things together are going to give you 227 miniatures, 3 double-sided boards, that's 6 maps, 25 hero sheets, 21 dice, the Book of Skelos, 156 tiles, and 17 scenarios. So that's kind of your base campaign that you start with, are those 17 scenarios. If you bought the base game at retail, and so you don't have the stretch goal box, you can come on here and pledge just for the stretch goal box to kind of fill out that. And this is going to be a $64 add-on. Again, it's Kickstarter exclusive, and it breaks down all the things that are in this part of that base game, the part that you would not have gotten at retail. All right, as we can continue down, we've got the Versus mode, which is also included with the top 2 pledges, and it is a $53 add-on, and you can just see what comes in that. So 12 miniatures, 1 double-sided board, 14 cards, the Book of Skelos, 10 scenarios, but this is really designed to be played 2 players head-to-head, so it's almost like a mini standalone game, just for a 2-player duel. So that is its own thing. Then we've got Worms of the Earth, which is a previous expansion. This is a $21 add-on. It's got 10 miniatures, 4 hero sheets, and 3 scenarios. So it does have its own little campaign, but it is kind of a mini campaign that's 3 scenarios. So it's a smaller expansion. Then we've got the Frazetta expansion, which also comes in the top 2 pledge levels. Focused on Frank Frazetta art and characters. This is also a $21 add-on. You've got 2 miniatures, 2 hero sheets, and 1 scenario with this. And then finally, you've got an extra dice set. It's $10 if you wanted to add that on, just so that you have more dice. So if you're playing with a bunch of players, you're not, having to share the dice between everyone. So this is something you may or may not need. But those are all of the add-ons. Those are all of your 4 pledges. And this new campaign for Conan is slated to deliver next year in January 2025. From there, we're going to take a look at the new game from the Kabuto Sumo line, and this is Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam. And as we can see in the headline, this is a standalone sequel that you will not need the base game to play. Also with this campaign, they're doing a new Swarm expansion that can be played with the original Kabuto Sumo. So let's go take a look at that over here. Here is the first game, the base game that came out in 2021. There have been expansions for this in the past. They've done Total Mayhem. Total Mayhem was a 2022 release that featured more items, more objects that could be used in the dexterity part of the game. On this kind of elevated platform, you're trying to push things off. And so that gave you more things to push with. And then they also had Insect All-Stars in 2021, which gave you more characters that you could play with, more wrestlers. Beetle Brawl came out last year, and now we've got Swarm and then this new kind of standalone version. But if we go over and look at this, we can see that the original game here was designed by Tony Miller. It had art by Kwanchai Maria. It was published by BoardGameTables.com. They've sort of evolved a little bit since this came out. They're now calling themselves All Play. They originally made Board Game Tables, which is why they called themselves BoardGameTables.com. And then they started to get into publishing games. And after a couple of years, they decided, let's change the game publishing arm name to All Play and not have it be this kind of website name. So they're now called All Play. And if we go and look at, let's look at the new expansion here. So it's called Sakura Slam. That's going to list the publisher as All Play, but it's the same company. And you can see also that at this point in time, we've now got 2 co-designers that are working with Tony Miller on the new game, John Brieger and Michael Dunsmore. So Tony Miller, apart from Kabuto Sumo, is probably best known for Fire in the Library and Rivet Heads. And John Brieger is probably best known for the Cartographer's Heroes line, and Michael Dunsmore has worked on a bunch of the Kabuto Sumo expansions, and other than that, he's probably best known for Starfighter's Rapid Fire. Quanche Maria is one of the best artists out there in the business, in my opinion. He has really unique, really singular art, and you may know him from such games as Cryptid, Dinosaur Island, the new deluxe version of Food Chain Magnet, which has yet to deliver, the second edition of Sidereal Confluence, and Under Falling Skies. But with the Kabuto Sumo line, we're looking at action and dexterity games. That means that they're, light, complexity, and Allplay, the publisher, in addition to the Kabuto Sumo line, has put out such games as Bites, Chomp, Mindspace, Sail, and Through the Desert. So let's take a look at this video together. It's about a 2-minute one, and then we'll go over the 4 pledges and a bunch of add-ons, actually. Before we do that, though, we should make note that the campaign is funded very well. They're currently at $359,000 off of a $20,000 funding goal, and the campaign is going to run until February the 1st.
Kabuto Sumo is a joyous object. Kabuto Sumo is a toy. People just want to play this game over and over again, demanding more sumo. The production on it, the raised platform, that little pushing edge, really quality stuff.
No, 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 no! I have Kabuto Sumo!
That was a side input.
Yes!
Welcome to Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam featuring Baby and Flower Power. And it looks like they're gonna get right into it. They're running right at each other. Oh, and here comes Baby with a rip of the wing. Flower Power getting punched. Their glasses falling right off. Oh, ow, knee to the stomach. Oh, Baby is just making a mess of Flower Power. And a suplex to the ground. I think that is it for Flower Power. Look at him on the ground in shambles. He is out. Or is he? What is this?
It almost seems like it was something that was left in by accident, but I think they intended it to be humorous. So anyway, I think action dexterity games are something that either appeal to you or not. Hopefully this gives you an idea if this is going to be right for you. But if you do like action dexterity games, this is one that I think looks really cool, and I would definitely very strongly consider backing and acquiring. All right, now let's take a look at these pledges here, starting not with the Pledge Manager pledge, but with the first pledge that actually gets you something, which is the Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam. And this is going to get you the new game, along with the Dr. Bibble promo. So this is a $39 pledge, and Allplay has kept the shipping very cheap on this campaign. So if you're in the continental US, you're looking at $4 shipping, no matter the pledge level. Pretty awesome. That means that this pledge overall, once you add in that shipping, is a $43 pledge. From there, we've got the new gameplay bundle. So this is going to include Sakura Slam and also the new Swarm expansion. And of course, you're still getting that Dr. Bibble promo. It's a $54 pledge with $4 shipping for $58 total. From there, we go to the All the New Stuff bundle. So you're going to be getting all the new gameplay elements that were from the previous pledge, and then some extras. A deluxe sumo ring, the Kabuto Mushi plushie, and the secret Allplay medallion. So you're adding in 3 things that... Well, 2 of them that are non-gameplay related, the medallion and the plushie, and the sumo ring that's kind of just an extra. And this is an $89 pledge with $4 shipping, $93 total. And then finally, we've got the all-in bundle. And the all-in bundle takes that previous pledge and then adds in all of the other Kabuto Sumo things as well. All the previously produced stuff. So you've got that Insect All-Stars expansion that's included at this level. You've got Total Mayhem. These are 2 previous expansions. You've got the Andre the Goliath Beetle promo. You've got the Flor de Muertos promo. And then you've got all the other extras that we've been talking about at the previous pledges. Now, I can't remember if they included add-ons here. Let's see. Do they have extras listed here? Add-ons. I don't think they do. But if we go over to the details, we can take a look at all the things that you actually can add on. So, all of your optional add-ons here, right? So we've got a first edition upgrade pack. This is going to be for people who have the first edition and kind of want to upgrade it to the newest level. This is a $5 add-on. We've also got the Beetle Brawl upgrade pack. That is a $10 add-on. And I think these 2 things are listed in an add-on section and everything else is not. But all of these other items you can add on. So you've got the Andre the Goliath Beetle promo for $4. You've got the Flor de Muertos promo for $4, and these are just, individual extra wrestlers. You've got the Dr. Bibble promo, and then you've got some of the kind of non-gameplay extras that are in the higher pledge levels. You can add these on as well. You've got a plushie, a Kabuto Mushi plushie for $15. You've got that deluxe sumo ring here for $30. And what was the other one? The other one was the Secret Medallion, which I don't think I'm seeing that here as an add-on, am I? So I guess if you want that medallion, you need to pledge the all the new stuff bundle or higher. But you can add on all of the previous Kabuto Sumo stuff here. So you've got the previous expansions. You've got the Insect All-Stars as a $19 add-on. Total Mayhem as a $19 add-on. The new expansion Swarm, you can also add that on for $19. You've got the base game, the original base game for $39 as an add-on. You can add more copies of the new standalone game Sakura Slam. And then you've got more bundles that you can also add on. So more copies of bundles that are available to pledge on their own or as an add-on. And then finally, you can also get a board game bag from Allplay. That is a $59 add-on. Let's just go over here and see if I can see those the two items that are actually listed on the page as add-ons. Here they are. So it's that first edition upgrade pack, $5, and the Beetle Brawl upgrade pack, $10. But then for any of the other add-ons, they're not going to be listed on the main part of the page. You're just going to have to go over here, do your pledge, and then add on those things if you want them. And all the new Kabuto Sumo stuff, this whole campaign, this is all intending to deliver in July 2024. Okay, from there, we're going to take a look at a print-and-play game. I do like to highlight newer designers whenever I can, when they've got stuff that looks well-produced. And I think print-and-plays are also a really good way to try something out and not spend a lot of money, because there's no shipping involved with these. You're just going to be pledging for a few bucks, printing out the stuff on your end, and then you've got a game. So as a backer, it's cheaper and there's less risk involved. It's so far funded with $17,500, which is amazing when you consider that their funding goal was $200. That means they have the highest multiplier of the video. They have a 80-time multiplier approximately. And this campaign is going to also complete on February the 1st. Now, this is a print-and-play flip-and-write game. It's designed by Radoslaw Ignatow and published by his company, Hammer Dice. He talks about it being sort of his response to Hadrian's Wall, which means that while it is it's a flip-and-write, not a roll-and-write, but very similar. And usually those games are fairly light. This is probably going to be a little more heavy than a lot of roll-and-writes or flip-and-writes, but probably not quite as heavy as Hadrian's Wall or Roman Roll. And Radislaw, the designer, and his company Hammer Dice have also put out such games as Island Alone and Space Alone, and those have done very, very well. And a game called Roll and Meow, the Cat Burglars. And the art here is by Michael Taliga, who has done the art on Age of Thieves, King and Assassins, and Waste Knights. So what we're going to do is take a quick look at this 1-minute video, and then we'll go over the 3 pledges, which is pretty extensive for a roll and write, and we'll talk about what things those pledges include.
Amidst high walls and towers in the royal court, with changing alliances, the king's influence is key. Shape your future in night, where glory, valor, and a nobility collide. Follow the fate of the knight in a unique strategy game. Seek influence at the king's court. Play with different characters using various tactics. Try your skills in a variety of scenarios based on area control. Every game is unique, guided by event cards and objectives. In each turn, choose a side of the event card, get resources, active the action, and collect command point. To use them in various actions on the battlefield. To win an area control battle, face the consequences. The enemies never sleep. Try to fulfill one of the many winning conditions. Take part in multiple scenarios and play the role of many knights. Join the quest, back Knight on Kickstarter today.
All right. So if we go down here, we're going to see the 3 different pledges laid out for us. The first of these is Core. It's just the core game. It is a $6 pledge. They talk about the delivery date being February 2024. There's nothing to ship for any of these, but likely what will happen is the campaign ends on February the 1st, so they'll probably take like a week or 2 just to kind of process the end of the campaign, kind of get their assets together, and then they'll start emailing everything to backers. But it's going to deliver in February 2024. It's going to be a very quick turnaround because it's all PDFs. So first pledge here, Core, just $6. If we go to the all-in addition to that Core, you're also going to be getting some extra solo scenarios called Rebelly, Barbarian Invasion, and Flood. Also, the multiplayer war mode scenario with 2 multiplayer mode maps and also 2 additional character cards. So a lot of extra stuff, just about doubles the price to $11. No shipping, also going to deliver in February 2024. And from there, we've got this huge Royal Set pledge. This is a $21 pledge. Again, no shipping. It's going to deliver in 2024. It's everything from the previous pledge level plus pretty much everything that Hammer Dice has done. So you've got Space Alone and its story campaign. You've got Island Alone and its 3 story campaigns. You've got Roll and Meow and its heist pack. And then you've got 22 more games in this bundle called A Lot of Games Bundle. Now there is a little bit something that's confusing about this, because if we scroll down to the pledges here we go. So they list the all-in pledge here. Where is it? That's the all-in. Okay, so here's the Royal Set. When they list the Royal Set over here, they talk about this being a set of 17 roll and write games. Over here, they described it as 22 games. I'm not sure, but I would guess that this 22 games, this number includes Island Alone, Space Alone, Night, Roll and Meow, and maybe one of these are counting as 2 games. They might be counting this Kids Creative Games pack as the 5th game, but it's 17 here, it's 22 here, so I'm just going to assume the lower one, which is 17, and I'm going to assume that 1, 2, 3, 4, these 5 things are the difference. But either way, you're still getting 17 more roll and write games. Probably, those are simpler than these other ones that have been more highly produced and have had their own campaigns, but this is still 17 games for you to explore and dink around with. And then this pledge also includes this Kids Creative Games, 14 different creative and educational roll and write games. So between the 2 of these, you're looking at 31 more games. And is that worth an extra $10 to you? Why not? It's 33 cents a game. So even if you don't enjoy all of them, at 33 cents a roll and write game, there's probably some fun things there to explore and look at. But again, all of this stuff is going to be delivered to you by email if you back in February 2024, so in a few weeks. Now from there, we're going to go to the only campaign on Gamefound this period. This is a CMON campaign for Masters of the Universe, the board game Clash for Eternia. This is essentially a reprint, and it is a reprint that is not that friendly to US audiences. And the reason for this is that there's a lot of this Masters of the Universe stuff at retail, and CMON is trying to be respectful and not bite into that retail market. So a lot of this stuff is more intended for international audiences, people who want to back it and aren't going to be able to buy it in their own country because it's just not at retail there. And so this campaign is really more for them, but then there are some extras that US audiences may want, because if you have bought this at retail or you're going to buy some of these things at retail, there will be some Kickstarter extras from the first campaign that are not included. So US audiences may want to look at this just to get the stuff that they cannot find at retail. And we'll talk about what that is as we move forward in this. But just know that this campaign has got $396,000 in funding right now. It's got 8 days left on the campaign, which is scheduled to complete on January the 31st. So I think we had one other campaign, maybe the second one of the video, that was a January 31st end, and we've had a couple that are February 1st. But Masters of the Universe is right up there. It's gonna complete on January 31st. So the designers here are Leo Almeida, who has worked on Starcadia Quest, and Michael Scheinall, who's worked on Bloodborne, Marvel Zombies, Rum and Bones Second Tide, and Xenoshift. And then you've got two artists on this, Jose David Lanza Cebrian, who's worked on Champions of Midgard, Hellboy, Rum and Bones Second Tide, Sniper Elite, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. And Henning Ludvigsen, who's worked on Android Netrunner, Arkham Horror the card game, Blood Rage, The Lord of the Rings the card game, and Star Wars Imperial Assault. I would say that this is like a medium-heavy, typical kind of CMON miniatures game. You can play it one versus many or cooperative. It's got dice rolling. There's an action queue, variable player powers, kind of a tower defense game. And, you know, again, if you're curious about this, because it was published last year, it's got a 7.9 rating on Board Game Geek right now, plays 1 to 5 players. Community says that it's best at 2 to 3. And the weight here is at a 2.59. Normally I say anything over a 2.55 is medium heavy, so this is just into that medium heavy range. And, you know, CMON has just published a ton of stuff, all the Zombicide games. Let's see what else. What are their biggest, most highest rated games right now? It's kind of hard to tell because they publish a lot of other things too that aren't their games. Blood Rage is one that they originated as a publisher. Cthulhu Death May Die is theirs. Rising Sun. Modern Art actually is theirs mainly for the West. They kind of published this as a retail game. They did Ankh, Gods of Egypt, and then, you know, all the zombie games, Arcadia Quest, Marvel United, all that stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to watch this video, and then we will go over the 3 pledges. I'm only going to go over the pledges that U.S. audiences can back. There's only 3 of them, and they are for kind of cosmetic extras that you won't be able to get at retail. If you are an international audience, there will be, I think there's 4 additional pledges. These 4 right here: Master of the Universe, Defender of Grayskull, The Gameplay All In, and I Have the Power. Those are ones that you can back, but I'm not going to go over them for this video since I'm kind of concentrating more on US audiences. But let's take a look at the video, and then we'll talk about the pledges and the add-ons. a strange campaign for CMON because it's all previous content, right? And it's really more for international audiences. And I think because of all that, it seems like they're not doing their normal tactics of releasing like stretch goals and unlock content over the course of the campaign right up until the campaign end. This is really more just a way to kind of reprint the game and get it out there to international audiences. But if you are a US audience, these three top pledges may be for you. The first is called Gameplay Exclusives. This is a $170 pledge. It's got $34 in shipping, $204 total. And this is basically kind of everything that is not available at retail that you may want if you're in the US. So you've got the Box of Power, which is essentially the stretch goals for the original campaign, so not available at retail. You've got Jitsu and Cyclone, Cowl and Mantisaur, so these are all kind of character packs. And then you've got Wrath of Snake Mountain, which was a Kickstarter exclusive expansion. So again, if you're going out there and picking up retail stuff, this is not going to be available, and this would be your chance to get this. So with shipping, $204 total. You can also just back this by itself, Jitsu and Cyclone. These two new characters, $20. There is no shipping on this, so it was free, $20 total. And then you've got the Plastic Castle Grayskull. So there is a cardboard Grayskull in the original game. This is giving you an opportunity to upgrade that, make it plastic. And this is a $75 pledge. They don't give us a shipping estimate for this. Just know that the total will be more than $75 because I doubt that that's going to be free shipping like Jitsu and Cyclone is. And then finally, there's the Box of Power, which also does not have a shipping estimate for it. So we know it's going to be $100 and something, but I'm guessing it's not going to be free shipping. And the Box of Power here, they say, includes all of the stretch goals and daily secret rewards that were unlocked in the original campaign. And that was the first item from the gameplay exclusives. So like, if you only want those stretch goals, just get this. But if you want all of the stuff, the stretch goals, the expansion, and then these three other character packs, get the gameplay exclusives. So those are for US customers, right? And if we go down further, we're going to see these pledges that are, like from the original campaign, but these are not available for people in the US. So these are international pledges. You've got Master of the Universe, Defender of Grayskull, the Gameplay All-In, and I Have the Power. So some ridiculous pledges, but these are intended for international audiences. There are some add-ons. So you can also add on Jitsu and Cyclone, just like you could pledge for it. It's $20. And everything here is marked very clearly, I think, whether it's available in the US or not. So if it's like these things, which are just essentially kind of more expansions or more copies of the pledges above, these are not going to be available to the US. But anything that's not marked with that is available to the US, like the Plastic Castle Grayskull. So you can pledge this as a pledge level. You can also add it on. And if we go down a little further, we've got some other stuff too that US backers may want. You can get the Battlefield playmat for $35. There are three different terrain packs, 3D terrain packs. There's a Ruin set for $25, a Nature set for $20, and a Rock set for $15. And then finally, there's a Marble dice set for $12. So, your options as a US backer here are limited, and you cannot get the base game with this. So this is really going to be for people who have either already bought some portion of this at retail or know they are going to get it and just kind of want to fill out their collection with the stuff that is not available at retail. But as we can see here, this project is going to deliver in November of 2024. And that is the only campaign this week that is on Gamefound. So from there, we're going back to Kickstarter for Metrorunner. Now, they have $52,000 in their coffers off of a $30,000 funding goal, which means they are not yet quite to a 2-time multiplier. Now, this campaign is going to run until February the 6th. It is by a first-time designer named Stephen Kerr, and the artist here is Ignacio Bazan Lazcano, who's best known for Arkham Horror, the card game, Star Wars Outer Rim, and Star Wars Rebellion. And it's being published by Thunderworks. who's best known for the Role Player series. So that includes, Role Player, all of the expansions for Role Player Adventures, the Cartographers line, Cartographers Heroes, some of the standalone games in that Role Player world, like Dawn of Eulos or Lock-Up Role Player Tale. The difference here is this is not related to Role Player. This is a standalone it's a cyberpunk themed worker movement and resource collection game with network and route building. So this campaign itself is fairly simple. We're going to watch this quick video and then we'll go over the 2 pledges that you can choose from. There aren't add-ons either. So if you decide you want this, you're going to have some very simple choices to make.
Enter Mirror City, the only remaining oasis in a world of corporate control and government corruption. But it's only a matter of time before all that changes. You've decided to make a name for yourself as a runner, a boots-on-the-ground mercenary in the corporate Cold War. To prove yourself, you'll need to earn the respect of the residents in your district and build your notoriety among the city's network of runners. Metrorunner is a competitive resource management and spatial puzzle game set in a dystopian future for 1 to 5 players. Ride the Metro to collect resources from the locals, complete jobs to build your influence, and gain cutting-edge upgrades. Hack local networks to mine sensitive data, boosting your notoriety. Outmaneuver other runners to complete valuable contracts. Prove that you are the best runner on the free market. The rest will struggle in obscurity, but that's just life in Mirror City, isn't it?
All right, so let's take a look at these 2 pledges. The first of these is called Into the Shadows. This is going to include the board game with a mini expansion called Drop Site. This is a $48 pledge, $10 in shipping, $58 total. And then there's the Prime Runner pledge, $60. So it's also got $10 shipping, so $70 total. That is a $12 increase off of the previous pledge because it's adding in 1 item. The metal panop tiles, which are blacklight activated. So it's these right here. They're valued at $12, and that's the difference between these 2 pledges. So if you want these tiles, pledge for Prime Runner, $70 with shipping. If you don't, then just pledge Into the Shadows, which is $58 with shipping. And both of these versions are going to be delivered in July of 2024. So that's a pretty fast turnaround for a game that is actually being physically produced. But in general, Thunderworks is a pretty reputable publisher, so it's possible that the game delivery date could get pushed, but I'm not too worried about this never getting delivered. July 2024. And then we go to our final campaign of the week, which is for a game called Spires and Rangitaki. Now, there have been 2 previous games in the series. Let's take a quick look at these. The first one came out in 2019, and it had a bunch of expansions. And it did well enough that the designer decided to make a sequel, a standalone sequel called Spires and Hildegard. And that has had several expansions as well. So if we look up Spires and Hildegard, we can see that it's billed as a standalone card game adventure set in the world of Spire's End, and it focuses on one character from the base game called Hildegard. If we take a look at the original game here, we can see that the rating on this is 7.7, which is pretty good. It's basically a solo game, although you can play it cooperatively, if you kind of want to make decisions together, the same way you might want to play something like Final Girl. And it's got a weight of 2.11, which is just barely over the line into medium light. So this is a very light game. It's designed by Greg Favreau. It's published by his company, Favreau Ventures. And he's pretty much just been working on Spire's End stuff. And then he had an artist on the spin-off game, Hildegard, named Diego Frias, and Diego is back for the new version, the new iteration here, Rangitaki. So this is kind of like another standalone sequel again in that universe. And it's described here as a solo choose your path card game that can be enjoyed with or without prior experience with the Spires and series. It reminds me a lot of those very simple book games or computer games where they were essentially following like a choose your own adventure type format, but throwing in some statistics and maybe some dice and stuff, just to give you a little bit more character development than purely making a choice in a book and turning the page. But it's kind of just a slight mechanic advancement over that. It's essentially, you're going to be doing these things and have to make certain security checks or pass checks to go to certain places. But very, very simple. There's only one pledge for this. It's $42. It's got $12 in shipping. $54 total. There's also no video for me to show you, and I'm totally cool with putting the videos at the top within my video because these are being used for promotional purposes. But in a past video, I actually linked a video from within, that wasn't on the top, and the owner was not happy with me for doing that, so I'm not going to put videos that aren't at the top within my video. But if you want to go and take a look at some gameplay, there are a couple videos on here. Let's go down so we can see them. There's some stuff by Quackalope. There's Board Games in a Minute, who Sarah Shaw does a quick kind of breakdown of the gameplay. And there's another quick how to play here and a couple other videos. So there's stuff for you to watch, but I'm just not going to put it in my video because I don't want to upset any creators and basically, be showing their video within my video, especially if it's not at the top of the page. Kind of scrolled through most of this page already. Oh no, there they are. So there are two add-ons. There's this small kind of micro expansion with 12 to 15 more story cards. It's called Salt and Sea. You can add this on for $9. And there's also a playmat that you can add on for $20. And finally, Greg Favreau and Favreau Ventures are planning on delivering this new game in their universe next year, early next year in January 2025. So that wraps the 7 campaigns that I wanted to share with you today. Before I sign off, I would like to quickly do 2 things. One of them is to talk about whether or not there's a video coming this coming week and what will be in it. And absolutely, yes, there is another video coming this week. And I know that for sure because I'm recording this so late. The Tuesday launches for this week have already launched. So I can tell you that at the very least, the video that will premiere at the end of this week will include Earthborn Rangers second printing, Storm Raiders, which is a new game from Shem Phillips of Garfell Games. Although it's not being published by Garfell Games, it's being published by Atlas Games, who previously published a game of his called Shelfie Stacker. That was kind of a simple, light, fun sort of tile placement game where you're trying to arrange your board games into the shelf. Very meta for us board gamers. But the new game is not that kind. It's not a puzzly game like that. It's not simple. It's more an exploratory story game with some heavier mechanics. It looks really cool. So we'll be going over that next week, and then also Tokyo Highway Rainbow City, the new action dexterity game in the Tokyo Highway series, which for my money, I think kind of the coolest action dexterity games that I think are out there are the Tokyo Highway series and Crash Octopus, and the one that we looked at today, Kabuto Sumo. So if I was getting a action dexterity game, it would be one of those 3. And then the other thing I like to mention in the back section here is games new to my collection that came in this period. And the reason for that is I did mention at the top I'm getting my upstairs bedroom kind of reformatted into a new studio space. I'm clearing out games. And as I do, I will be relaunching my teach and review videos and live streaming games. And so stuff that is new to my collection, I think, is ripe to either have teach and review videos made or be live streamed. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to see any of these games covered in either one of those formats. The expansion for Cosmic Frog, Find Muck, I'm not going to call it Mind because that's what it was intended to be, but is a little safer in the way that it's labeled as Find Muck. The Splotter game, Horseless Carriage, and the Village Big Box. So if any of those are things you would like to see teach and review videos made for, you'd like to see live streamed, let me know in the comments. Also, if you have not liked the video or subscribed to the channel, consider doing that now. And other than that, I hope you're having a great week. I hope you get a chance to play some really good games, and hopefully I will see you back here next weekend for the third crowdfunding roundup of January 2024 that will be at least including Earthborn Rangers, Storm Raiders, and Tokyo Highway Rainbow City. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.